Hey guys, welcome back to Walking with Jesus Daily. This is the day 50 recording of the year. This is 2025 when these were originally recorded. Today, of course, is Sunday, February 23rd. This recording is actually late. It was supposed to have already happened about 2 days ago for today. And every time I tried to do it, it was interrupted or something wasn't complete or ready. I did post a audio message regarding the number 40 and the importance of it, and we're going to hit our first of 40, the first of 20 stories about the number 40 that we're going to cover while we're in this wilderness. This is our first one. Remember, we did cover already faith and belief in one lesson, temptation and sin in the next lesson, repentance in the next lesson, baptism and spirit in the next lesson, and then search me, empty me in lesson 5. So now we are going on to examples of 40 days and or the number 40 rather. So let's dig in. If you have not spent time in prayer or worship or praise or serving or whatever you need to do to separate yourself from yourself and add yourself into the life of Jesus, to insert yourself in before His presence and allow Him to be King and Lord over your life. So many people, including believers, do not believe in several things that the Bible speaks plainly about. I am not one of those people. I am a true believer in what is said as truth, and I especially put importance on if Jesus talked about a topic or not. Okay? So, if Jesus spoke about it, and He says that it was a part of something that happened, then guess what? I believe it. Period. So I'm going to start this lesson today with the words of Jesus. Matthew 24:36 through 39. This is what Jesus said. But concerning that day and hour, no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only. For as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. What do you mean about Noah? Let's read. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day when Noah entered the ark, and they were unaware, until the flood came and swept them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. We don't need necessarily the words of Jesus describing something for us to believe the happenings of an event, but He is the evidence of God, the Father, the Son, and the Spirit all in one. His life embodies these three things, and every single human has to acknowledge the fact that He existed. If He existed and He had eyewitnesses, then what He said is true. And what He did was true because He did what He spoke of. His actions were what backed up His words. Does that make sense? He says, your sins are forgiven. And He said, what's easier, for me to say your sins are forgiven, or for me to tell you rise and walk? But so you know I am who I say I am, and that I have authority over all things, including sin and including overcoming paralyzation. Get up and walk. And that guy got up and walked. Okay? That was in front of a ton of eyewitnesses. Not just a few. Not just His 12 disciples. A bunch of people. So, with that being said, I'm going to go with truth, fact. Okay? So the story of Noah, since Jesus talked about it, is impossible to disprove. Period. End of story. He even describes what it was like and what happened. Now, let's read the story. I'm highlighting it, okay? I'm hitting a couple key verses. I'm not reading the whole story. Go to Genesis chapter 6 if you want to read the whole story. I wouldn't even get through the first 4 verses in an hour, So let me try to just speed through this so you guys can all be on the same page. If you're doubting that the flood was a real, actual, true event, you need to hear the words of Jesus and you need to believe. I'm not going to tell you what you have to believe in, but I am going to tell you that it happened. I am going to tell you that there is so much evidence backing it up, it's ridiculous. And I'm going to tell you that since Jesus said it, it's truth. Because if you can't believe, if he says one lie, if Jesus says one lie, you can challenge his entire character. You can challenge every word he ever said. But you can't challenge anything because it's truth. Genesis 6, 5 through 8. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. How sad. And the Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. So the Lord said, I will blot out man, whom I have created, from the face of the land, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heaven, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Let's put together a couple things that we know real quick. That there were fallen angels, yes, read the first 4 verses. That Satan or demons are able to enter into animals and people. There's evidence all over, starting in Genesis chapter 3 and all the way through the New Testament of demons being cast out of people, even cast into swine or pigs, okay? So, by killing everything and giving these evil spirits or demons no place to go, they too would die and be damned to hell. However, God did not punish the righteous. He saw Noah, and Noah found favor in his eyes. Now, 11 through 13, same chapter, 6, Genesis. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and the earth was filled with violence. And God saw the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. Flesh corrupted their way on the earth. And God said to Noah, I have determined, he said to Noah, he's speaking to Noah, I have determined to make an end of all flesh, for the earth is filled with violence through them. Behold, I will destroy them with the earth. I will use the earth to destroy evil. Interesting. God works through his creation to get things done in his creation. You say, well, is that why natural disasters happen today? Is that God punishing evil people? I'm not saying it is. But I can't tell you it's not, because he's done it. He said he would not put an end to all people again, but never said that he wouldn't use his creation, the earth, to destroy people, to cleanse places, to make a way for good to return to a place. What greater way to put good into a place than to first cleanse it of all evil? And you say, what about those lives, those helpless people, look, God's got a plan for all of you. If you're evil, you get what you ask for. If you're good, you get what he gives you. This isn't it. We can't live as if this is it, because it's not. This is just the way to get to what is it. And I'm talking the spiritual things. I'm talking eternal things. Why worry about the things that are temporal? The things that are coming to an end. All right. Verse 18 of chapter 6. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall come into the ark, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. Okay. So now we have this truth. What does this mean here? This means that Noah had to have faith in God when he was speaking to him. That Noah had to follow through with a work that God asked him to do. So he had to be faithful and he had to do a work. Then he had to follow through with the work by getting into the ark. Now, what if Noah just said, I believe what you're saying, but I don't want to build the ark because I feel like you should find a way for me? Dead. And what if you said, I believe in what you're saying and I'm going to build this thing up, but I'm not getting into it because my faith will save me? Also dead. Noah had to hear and believe and obey. And then he had to get into the ark to be saved. Period. 1 Peter talks about this same thing, about baptism. The baptism thing is really getting irritating to me because of the lies that are told about baptism. Anyway, it's very simple. It's very logical. Take religion out of it, and it's not hard to understand. Moving on. Chapter 7, verse 4 through 6. This is God speaking. For in 7 days I will send rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And every living thing that I have made, I will blot out from the face of the ground. These are the words of God. In 7 days, finish up, get everything in order. Tell me that Noah was not trying to tell these people that what was coming. Okay? Here it comes. I'm giving you a heads up. In 7 days. In 7 days, I'm going to send rain. And Noah's probably like, can you describe what rain is? Because it's never rained. See, people lived a long time back then. A very long time. The atmosphere was perfect. There was no reason for them not to live a very long time. The skies were filled with this atmosphere of protection. You can get all sciencey, go look it up, see what it says. But see, water came from underneath the ground, not from the sky. It's about to come from the sky. There's things getting ready to happen that no man on earth has ever witnessed or experienced, that has no idea what it is or what's happening. You want to talk about the fear that was coming? There's a lot. There is a lot coming that has never been seen or known before. And for 40 days and 40 nights, this is the first time that I have recorded of this number 40 being used. I could have missed it, guys. I'm not seeing every single one. I'm pointing out the ones of the stories that we know well, and of the ones that that makes sense to us, or the ones that we question our beliefs in. It drives me crazy when people question the flood. I mean, come on. If you knew the way that your human body worked, if you knew the way that a human was formed in the womb of a body, you wouldn't question a flood. You'd have bigger questions, all right? So, but that's not where we're at. This is where we're at. 40 days and 40 nights. Remember our 40 study, what we talked about. The fact that in this 40 period was renewal, was a time for transformation. And in that, there's an opportunity for new growth, for changes, and for new growth. That's a big deal. Like, new growth is a big deal. Transformation is a big deal. That means that there's something that's not good here. But I am good. And I'm going to wash that away. Yes, we can take this back to baptism every time. I'm going to wash that away. It's going to die. And I'm going to give you a chance for a brand new way. And Noah did all that the Lord had commanded him. What does it say? Some of it? Does it say Noah listened to God and made up his own rules about what should happen? Noah did 90% of what God asked him to do. It says Noah did all that the Lord had commanded him. Noah, I want you to build a humongous boat in the middle of nowhere. Check. Noah, I want you to use a specific kind of wood. Check. Noah, I want it to be a specific size. Check. Noah, I want you to get all these animals on board this same ark. Check. Noah, this is going to take you about 100 years, 120 years, give or take. So I need you to get started on this. Check. No big deal, God. I'll give you the next 100, 120 years of my life to do this for you. Check. Noah did all that God had commanded him. Hear these words. And it says, Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters came upon the earth. Having trouble believing that? Yep, me too. Doesn't matter. I don't have to believe it to know it's true. Makes no difference to me. He's 600 years old. You're like, well, I think it was different then. Guys, it wasn't different. Does the earth rotate different? Is the sun different? Come on. It's the same as it was from the beginning. There's no different. It's not different. It's exactly the same as it was in creation. Unchanged. So, this is what it says in Genesis 7, 10 through 13. It says, and after 7 days, the waters of the flood came upon the earth. After 7 days, just like God had said. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, on the 17th day of the month. Wow, this is very specific. It's like Luke wrote this. So let's get this straight. After 7 days, the waters of the flood came upon the earth in the 600th year of Noah's life. In the second month, on the 17th day of the month, on that day, all the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of the heavens were opened, and rain fell upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day, Noah and his sons, Shem and Ham and Japheth, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them entered the ark. Now, 40 days, it says here, all the fountains of the great deep burst forth. That makes me think, and I'm just being whatever here, just take it for what it's worth, but it just makes me think of the whole Pangea. It's just funny how all the continents, like they once were together and then apart. I don't know, whatever. We're just going to go with it. I'm sure that one day God will explain to us because we'll ask him, and then quite frankly, we really won't care because we're going to be in a perfect place with him. However, that day, all the fountains of the great deep, so in our calendar, it would be February 17th. I'd have to do a little looking to see what it was exactly then. And rain fell upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. So all of the water from below the earth and all of the water from above the earth came on top of the earth. And the way I understand that is a great flood. Because I see rain for a couple days, and I see terrible, crazy, awful things happen. I see lives taken. I see houses destroyed. Communities disappear, is what I see. So yeah, I would believe that if the great waters underneath came forth and it rained 40 days and 40 nights from above, that there would be a great flood. But what about Noah and his wife, his 3 sons, and their 3 wives? They are safe. Why? Because they're on the ark and in the ark. See, they were saved by the ark and saved through the floodwaters. See, because when they're going to leave the ark, guess how much evil there's going to be? it's just going to be them. Fresh start. Just them. So, if there's evil on the earth, where would it be coming from? There you go. So do you see how they were saved by the waters from the evil of the earth, and they were saved by the ark that God commanded them to get in, and none of it made any sense. Don't you think God just could have snapped his finger like they do in one, I think it's an Avenger movie, where if you have like all these stones or something, I don't know what it is, you're able to snap your finger and everybody just dies? Forgive me if I'm saying that wrong. If you're an Avenger fan, I don't know. Okay, I'm not up on that. I'm fairly well versed in my Jesus, but I'm not well versed in the Infinity Stones. I think I even got that right. Maybe that's a Disney thing. I don't know. Hang with me. Point being, could God have just ended it? Yeah, he ended a lot of lives, but he didn't. Couldn't he sent like a whole bunch of legions of angels? Yeah, he could have, but he didn't. He's done that before. Why didn't he do it here? Wasn't his plan. Why floodwaters? Guys, it's exactly like we read about in baptism. How could it not be? It makes total and perfect sense. And what does Satan try to do? Change that up as best he can. You think about all the ways that the earth could have been done, and this is the way that God decides to do it. And I love how it says that Noah did everything he was asked to do. All right, so we're on the last page of notes here, okay? Genesis 7:17 through 24. You ready? And the flood continued 40 days on the earth. A flood so bad that there was no safe place. There was no place to climb. There was no place to hide. There was no place for protection. There was no boat that you could make or create. There was no Titanic that could overcome it. There was no Carnival Cruise Line. There was death or the ark. The waters increased and bore up the ark, and it rose high above the earth, above the mountains. There is a boat above the mountains. Are we hearing this? A boat above the mountains. Now, why did that boat make it and the other boats didn't? That's real easy, guys. Because God built it. See, God built a boat that could withstand God's flood. That's just kind of the way it works. So with that being said, he's pretty good at what he does. It says, the waters prevailed and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed so mightily on the earth that all the high mountains under the whole heaven were covered. The waters prevailed above the mountains, covering them 15 cubits deep. Side note, I think Goliath was 6 cubits in height. I don't know. Forgive me if that's wrong. And all flesh died that moved on the earth. Okay? Period. Low dot. Happy stick. Birds, livestock, beasts, all swarming creatures that swarm on the earth, and all mankind. Everything. Birds had nowhere to land. Livestock had nowhere to run. Beasts had nowhere to climb to. Everything on the dry land in whose nostrils was the breath of life died. Isn't this kind of a cool side note real quick? It says, in whose nostrils was the breath of life, but it's not talking about underwater creatures that can't live with oxygen but have to live and breathe underwater. I just thought that was neat. Okay. He blotted out every living thing that was on the face of the ground, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heavens. They were blotted out from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those who were with him in the ark. That's weird. Only the people in the ark. Noah and those who were with him. Jesus and those who were with him. I'm not calling Noah Jesus. I'm just saying, do you see it? Do you see it? Okay. And the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. Another side note here. Okay, let's just get real for half a second. If God did this in 40 days and it had a purpose because that number was specific, now we've got 150 that they're on the ark after this all took place. Imagine the smell in that ark. This morning, Kenny talked about aroma in 2 Corinthians 12 through 17. I can imagine the aroma from Noah of faith was beautiful, but perhaps over the course of 150 days, the aroma on that boat was putrid. And in human fashion, what we would do is complain. Thanks a lot for saving us, God. It stinks in here because you let the waters go down anytime now. Do you know how long 150 days is? Was that like 5 months? That's a long time, bro. Not counting the 40 days they were already on there and the other 7. Okay? Long time. Long time. 150 days. So couldn't God have just snapped his fingers and evaporated everything or made it all disappear because he brought those waters out of nowhere? Of course he could have. He didn't want to. That wasn't his purpose. That wasn't the way he designed it. It was designed for a certain way and a certain purpose. Could he make it do his will? Of course he was. Aren't you the same? Let's move into our last section of Scripture. At the end of the 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark that he had made and sent forth a raven. It went to and fro until the waters were dried up from the earth. Then he sent forth a dove from him, to see if the waters had subsided from the face of the ground. But the dove found no place to set her foot, and she returned to him to the ark, for the waters were still on the face of the whole earth. So he put out his hand and took her and brought her into the ark with him. Now, for some reason, the rest of my notes did not get put on this page. So Genesis chapter 8, we will go because this is important. And remember, I do not study ahead of time. I grab the scriptures and roll with it and let God speak. And it says, he waited another 7 days, and again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. And the dove came back to him in the evening, and behold, in her mouth was a freshly plucked olive leaf. So Noah knew that the waters had subsided from the earth. That's 2. Then he waited another 7 days and sent forth the dove, and she did not return to him anymore. Dove 3 times. How cool is that? How cool is God in numbers? Now, there's a whole lot of other numbers that we could that we could go into. Okay, a whole lot more. In the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, okay, 7th month, which is, then we had the 2nd month and the 17th day. The ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Want to know where the ark is? It rested on Ararat. Okay. It says the waters continued to abate until the 10th month, and then 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, the tops of the mountains were seen. Okay. All of these things go over and over and over and over again. Look at the numbers, look at what's said. But what we're studying here, as you were in a wilderness for 40 days and for 40 nights, as you are being led by the Spirit and listening to Him, and He is speaking to you. This morning we had a great conversation on what temptation really is. See, Jesus was tempted by the devil for 40 days and 40 nights. We're going to get to that later. We've already talked about it, but we're going to get to it again later. That time was spent with Jesus filling up. See, when we're tempted and we fail, God is showing us a place that we have put other things where He's supposed to be. Let's put it in simple forms. something happens, you instantly get anxiety and worry, and it ruins about 3 hours of your day. God's saying, this is where I'm supposed to be. I will give you peace. I will give you comfort. Come to me. We will continue to fail in this area until we understand the trial and temptation that we are undergoing is simply meant to grow us nearer to Him. See, then the temptations disappear. Like, they no longer have a hold on you. They can't get you anymore. You've been seen through them. Jesus underwent every temptation and failed at none of them because He was fully filled with the Spirit of God in all aspects of His life. Clearly, we are not all the time. Clearly, we struggle sometimes. We fail sometimes. And it gets ugly sometimes. But that's okay. It's okay because we have a good God. And He is cleansing our lives right now. He is allowing for transformation. He is giving us a new way. Guys, see that, believe that, hear that, know that, accept that, ask for it to be brought on. Let's go. I need it because I can't get near to you unless you show me what needs to go, what needs to change, how. How does this work, Father? Cleanse me, search me, make me know. Please. Please. And then let God be awesome. Go forth in your life. Go and let God be awesome. This 40 days, do not waste them. Bring on temptation and view every temptation as a flood water coming through your body, coming through your spirit, and cleansing out what needed to be flushed like a toilet. No normal person leaves a toilet full. They flush it down. And if there's any remnant left, guess what they do? They wait a second for it to refill. And they flush it again. I'm sorry that I took this to a toilet. That's just where my mind went. We can relate. Guys, hit the flusher. Let God do God things. Let Him be amazing for these 40 days. The 40 days was necessary on the earth so that God didn't blot all of man out, but He left a remnant. He found the only good splinter. And he held it so close and so precious that He built an entire ark around it to protect it. He let the whole tree die, but He kept a splinter. And He made a whole new world with that splinter. You are special like Noah if you are righteous like Noah. Let God find favor in your life. Be a sweet-smelling aroma to our holy God. He will save you. He is the way. Let Him cleanse you. I love you guys. I'll see you for the next one.